What's up, everybody? Welcome to Stadium's Unpacked. I'm your host, Brooke Fletcher. We hope you guys had a very fruitful week, whether you were buying new cards here or you were ripping wax. We got a lot to get to on this episode here. We're going to talk the card show coming up, some etiquette there. We're also going to talk about some of Keith Law's top prospects in the minors there, and we are going to get you ready for some new releases. We got a lot to get to, so let's waste no more time here, and let's get into just baseball's very own Aram Leighton. Aram, great to see you. I know you're feeling a little under the weather. How you feeling?
Better now. It's always great to be on and be talking cards with you.
Yeah, I know. We got a lot to get to here. I mean, I think the biggest news surrounds Topps. They had an industry conference here, and boy, there was a lot of news. The main takeaway is that they are going to be getting into NBA and the NFL here. Now, they're all going to be unlicensed as their deals with the leagues they begin next year here. But having guys like Victor Wembanyama and CJ Stroud sign exclusive deals, I mean, this seems like the logical step to capitalize on their rookie years, wouldn't you say?
I mean, absolutely. If you're struggling with the lack of license, and then that's something that, is going to be a bit of a disadvantage, go ahead and get the autographs of the players that everybody is going to want in that set. Wembanyama being one of them, and of course LeBron having autographs now in Topps for the first time in like 20 years. Things like that are exactly how you make the product really interesting. And Wembanyama is the chase. We talked about it last week. So I don't think people are going to care too much as to whether it's licensed or unlicensed when that's your opportunity to get his autographed rookie card at this point. So I'm with you. I think it is the best way to capitalize and really leverage having a little bit more capital and maybe not being able to have the license and have a lot of people still be very interested in the product because of that.
So I want to dive deeper because, you said that it really isn't going to matter. But a lot of times, with you being a baseball collector here in Panini, they've had unlicensed cards for years here. And so a lot of people, they aren't big fans of them. But you mentioned LeBron James. He's going to be a part of this here. So do you think that stock could rise? Do you think more people are going to desire having big names like that? They're going to want to get cards like this?
I think in baseball it's tougher, and with baseball, the unlicensed side, it can be more difficult because there's so many different autographs that you can get. You can get the multiple prospect autos a lot of times. These top prospects will have multiple Bowmans before they get to their big league debut, and then once they get to the big league debut, they'll have rookie autos. Whereas I think when you look at it from a football perspective or even basketball, especially on the Wembanyama aspect, I mean, this is the only way that you're going to get one of his autographs. So I don't think you're going to be as hell-bent as to whether it says Spurs or San Antonio, across the jersey, whereas at least you have the Wembanyama auto. I think with baseball, it's going to be more important on the, luxury side or the nicer products, where that's the National Treasure, the Panini Flawless, where you have really unique touches to it. You have jerseys and cool aspects to those cards that make them incredibly unique. But I think for the unlicensed side of things, it's going to be a lot easier for the baseline market on, I think, basketball, especially if they're having these unique and autographs that are not available anywhere else.
Well, it makes you wonder, how this is going to impact other cards like the Prism rookies for, Wembanyama or even with CJ there. Do you think there is going to be a big impact on their value?
I'm very interested to see, because I think at the end of the day, there's just going to be so many people that want that first on card or just first card autograph of Wembanyama. We've seen some one-offs and things like that, but in terms of what's in packs, what to go chase, I think it's also going to make the product, a lot more of a popular rip, just for the idea that you can pull some of these unique autographs rather than just trying to find these different base cards. There's something about the signature, there's something about the Sharpie that just gets people going a little bit more.
I love that. Something about the Sharpie there. Okay, so I got to get your thoughts here. Let's just play hypothetical, of course. Would you rather have the Wemby 1-of-1 Prism non-auto or the unlicensed Super Factor auto from Topps Chrome?
Oh, wow, that is a great question. I'm going to go out on a limb here just because I love the way that the card looks. I'm going to go with the unlicensed because, again, I'm going to double down on the Sharpie comment. And maybe some people may disagree, and maybe you can put it up in a few months when hopefully they're both pulled and the values may be different. But just me personally, something about having that one of the first autographs that he's ever had and the rarest of that edition just seems a little bit more special to me. And I think we're going to see, as a hobby in general, a little bit more willingness to collect unlicensed autographs and just unlicensed cards because of just how complex the entire issue has become and the entire just licensing aspect of the industry has become. I think people might be a little bit more open to creative ways to have unique cards with autographs that say San Antonio instead of the Spurs on there. And I think they're doing a really good job of making it not seem so unlicensed as it used to in the past with just like a blank jersey and you don't see anything on it. They toe the line really well now.
Yeah, and I think people want unique things, and you're seeing that across all industries there. So I think you make a good point. But let's keep it in that same vein here, because news broke out over the weekend surrounding Marvin Harrison Jr. We know that he was in high demand in this year's draft, and he has a deal with Fanatics, who owns Topps. But, it's holding up his signing with the NFL Players Association. He signed the deal before the start of last season for around reportedly $1 million here. But obviously that means that the autos in unlicensed stuff this year, but not signing with the PA means that Panini cannot even use his image on cards currently. So do you think these types of deals are really hurting the card industry?
It's a really complex issue, and I think it ties in really well to the end of the last conversation because, I don't think a lot of players are going to be in positions like Marvin Harrison, where your father played in the NFL for a very long time. You're an early drafted wide receiver. You already were one of the most expensive NIL guys as well. So there's not as much of a need for the money for him. So he's in a spot where he feels like, hey, if I'm not getting what I feel like I deserve for all of the cards I'm going to sign and all of the, likeness I'm going to give up, then I'll hold out a bit. And Marvin Harrison's a very unique aspect in that situation. I think we see, especially in the NFL, receivers just aren't as coveted as quarterbacks until they're some of the best in the NFL. So a guy like Kenny Pickett earned $1.6 million in his group licensing agreement, whereas a lot of times receivers will get less than that. Even a Jamar Chase gets less than that. So Marvin Harrison, it's bold. It's a really unique approach because if he outperforms already the very lofty expectations, then him kind of going to market himself and selling, his signature and his likeness may work in his favor. But you have to also consider that right out of the draft as an early first-round pick, there may never be more hype for you. There would be so many more jerseys flying off the shelves. There'd be a lot more excitement around him. But at the same time, he can kind of have that leverage and say, hey, if I outperform my expectations, I want to be able to, leverage that and make the most money possible.
Yeah, and I think it is interesting, even when the new world surrounding NIL stuff and the mindset of these players are changing as they go to the next level here. So Marvin Harrison, I wonder if he's just kind of paving the way for, the future of other players as they enter the league there and they sign these new deals. But before I let you go, Aram, I want to get to something that happened over the weekend. I want to get your take on this. On Saturday night, Mike DeGeneres pulled this Jason Dominguez 1-of-1 while he was at the Phillies game, and he posted it on the Sports Card Nonsense Facebook page and asks, quote, how do I get it out of the stadium clean here? So you got any advice for him? How can he make this happen?
Well, step one, watch that thumb on your left hand. That top corner on a paper card is definitely going to be a bit more flimsy. But what an amazing pull. I would say if I'm ever ripping a pack, usually you're not expecting to get anything like that. But if I'm at a baseball game, I'm getting the heck out of there right away because whatever he paid for those tickets to the Phillies game will not be nearly as much as even that paper 1-of-1 Dominguez. So I'm probably holding it with both hands, looking out for anybody bumping into me, calling an Uber, whatever it costs, and getting to the nearest card shop or getting home immediately and putting that thing in a top loader. And I guess if you're planning on ripping cards at a game, bring a top loader. I mean, you don't really feel like you're going to have that kind of luck, but you never know. It's Murphy's Law. The one time you don't, you're going to pull something like that.
Right? You got to come prepared. I know there's too much beer, drunk fans everywhere. You got to get out. You got to make a beeline for the exit there. That's Aram Leighton from Just Baseball. Good stuff. We appreciate you taking the time, Aram.
Thank you so much.
Guys, we know that heading into a card show, it can be a little intimidating if you haven't been to one. There's a lot of etiquette to keep in mind here, but don't worry. That's the whole point of Unpacked. We're here to educate you, and specifically, we have Tim Sinclair. He made his way out to Bridgeview to give you the do's and don'ts of a card show.
If you're relatively new to going to card shows, there's some etiquette you need to or should follow when you walk through the doors. Some of it is as simple as trying to be comfortable while you're here. Things like comfortable shoes. You're going to be on your feet a lot walking up and down the aisles. And if you don't wear comfortable shoes and maybe even new socks, you're going to regret it. Also, bring a bottle of water. Drinking fountains and inexpensive beverages aren't commonplace around most card shows. So if you have a bottle of water in your backpack, that's a great way to go. And food is another consideration. It's often very, very expensive if it's available at all. So make sure that you have some granola bars or other snacks in your bag so you're not spending an arm and a leg on food that you could be spending on cards themselves. And there are a couple of strategies when you walk through the door. If there's someone you know you're looking for, Ask the dealers if it's a specific player or a specific team. They know who they have, they know where to find it, and it will save you a ton of time by simply saying, hey, I'm looking for such and such a player, and they can point you exactly where it is that they would have that player if they have them at all, and save you a ton of time of flipping through things. If you're just looking for value, that's when you want to go to these bargain boxes and start finding things that you think are being sold lower than what you might be able to sell them for yourself at a future show or on another third-party site like eBay. You've got to know sort of what you're planning to do when you walk through the door so you know who to approach and how to approach them. Also, make sure you bring cash. Cash is absolutely king at most card shows. It's much easier. Often you can get a better deal if you have cash in hand. However, most are in the 21st century as well, so if you have PayPal or Venmo, a lot of dealers have access to that as well. And if you do friends and family transactions, those are typically fine as well. Once you get to these dollar boxes, there are a couple of strategies. Some are very, very organized, maybe by team or by player. Some are very, very random. But regardless, what you need to do is just start taking stacks, going through, finding cards you're interested in, pulling them to the side. If you see one you like, you can always put it back later if you decide not to buy it. But the bigger your stack gets, often the bigger your discount will get when it comes to going to a dealer and working on a price. If you're just going to buy a card or two, you may not get a big percentage off. However, if you have a stack of 10 or 20 or 100 cards from some of their bargain bins, quite often you can knock that down by 20, 30, 40% depending on the dealer. So that's it. Follow those few quick and easy steps to make your next card show a little easier, sometimes on the feet, sometimes on the wallet.
Good stuff, Tim. All right, guys, we've been so thrilled with the response from our first episode of Unpacked that we planned a little giveaway for you. We are going to be giving away these 5 Tops Now cards of rookies this season here. All you got to do is go to X and follow us on Unpack, like and retweet, and then we're going to pick our winner on Friday. And let me tell you, there's some good names. We got Ellie De La Cruz, we got Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Jackson Holiday. I mean, these are good cards. People go to the X and be sure to follow Unpacked. Guys, we got a lot more coming up. Senior writer for The Athletic, Keith Law, is stopping by to give us the latest from minor league baseball and some of the top prospects. That's coming up next. Stick around. Let's take a look at the record-setting sales from this past week. According to Card Ladder, Jalen Brunson, he has seen a major spike in his 2018 rookie cards, especially given his recent performances as he has his Knicks in the second round. And what else is there to say about Anthony Edwards? Back-to-back 40-point games in the playoffs. His 2020 Blue Prism rookie sold for nearly $5,000 last week, which still seems kind of low for him. And on the football side of things, how about retirement? It suited Aaron Donald collectors as well. His high-end rookie autos are up over 60% over the past 3 years. And if you want to check the market, the best way to do so is our friends over at Card Ladder. You can track your collection or browse the player indexes. All you got to do is use the code STADIUM and sign up for your first month free. We love things that are free here on Unpacked. What's up, everybody? Welcome back here. I'm joined by senior writer for The Athletic, Keith Law. Keith, great to see you here. Let's talk about some guys that we really need to keep an eye on. And how about Tyler Black? He got called up to the Brewers, and his first Bowman autos, they are up about 12% over the past couple weeks here. What do we need to know about him and what he brings to Milwaukee? Yeah, I really like him as a player in general, and also for what Milwaukee really needs right now. He's a really intense player, and I say that as a compliment. I love the way this guy plays the game. He fights for every pitch. He fights for every called strike. He fights every at-bat. And I do think over time, if you look at his performance in the minors too, you can see this guy's got strong walk rates, strong on-base percentages. And I do think in this case, that's indicative of a really advanced approach. I also like the swing. I think it's a contact swing more than a power swing, but the way that he works the count and the way that he runs, he's easily plus, probably a guy who'll steal 30-plus bases on a regular basis. He's going to be pretty productive even if he's only hitting 12 to 15 homers a year. The only downside, and this is more of just sort of a baseball on-the-field consideration, he's pretty limited defensively because he had a shoulder injury, had surgery, doesn't throw as well as he used to, which probably limits him to first base, maybe second base, maybe some left field. Used to have third base on the resume. I don't think that's going to happen going forward. As it turns out, the Brewers need a first baseman, so it's a perfect opportunity for him to seize a spot in the starting lineup, and I hope hold it for the rest of the year. All right, yeah, and he's brought up for his bat there, 303 average in minor league baseball here. But let's get to the next one, which is a little controversial because it's a pitcher. And as far as cards go, pitchers, their values don't hold really well, given the lifespan. And covering pitchers,
they break.
Yep. So, but it's hard to ignore what Jackson Jobe he has done. He has been outstanding, and his first Bowman autos have spiked. Get this, almost 340%, which is crazy. I see you shrugging here. So, does that make sense to you, given what he's done?
Well, kind of, because I was just thinking at this time last year he was on the injured list. It was a back injury, not an arm injury. And so Jobe was the number 3 overall pick in the draft back in 2021, and then did not have a great first year in minor league baseball, but then missed the beginning of his second year with that back injury. And then he comes back and he is every bit the player the Tigers thought they were getting when they took him 3rd overall. He's really athletic. His dad was a professional golfer for a long time. Up to 98, good ride on the fastball, really sharp. Oh, you can see it right there too. Watch the way the fastball's moving. There's the breaking ball. He's even developed a pretty good changeup. I've got some little questions about the delivery in terms of overall how much of a strike thrower he's going to be, but I have no questions about the stuff. And if he stays healthy, I think he's got number 2 starter upside.
Oh, okay. Well, let's move to Colorado now. Adiel Amador, he was a very hot name for Bowman collectors this past offseason, but he has not really gotten off to a good start. Just to give you guys some context here, his first Bowman autos are down nearly 35% from 6 months ago. And so what are you seeing from him? So
an expression, I think I coined it a couple of years ago, is don't scout the stat line. And I think what happened a lot with Amador is that people were looking at the stat line, seeing last year a 19-year-old putting up really strong walk rates, especially in A-ball, and thought, oh, this guy's a star. He's going to eventually hit. He's got the eye at the plate. He's eventually going to hit. He's going to play shortstop. He's going to come into power. None of those things are really true here. You can see he's not hitting at all. He doesn't have an extra base hit off a fastball at all this year. It's kind of a slider speed bat. He's not going to stay at shortstop. There's no power. And in AA this year, a much worse environment for hitters than where he's played before, he's hitting the ball on the ground all the time. This is not a formula for an everyday player. I think ultimately he's an extra guy. He's a utility infielder of some sort because he can stand at he can stand at shortstop on a limited basis. Maybe every day at second base. I just don't know if there's going to be enough stick there for that.
All right, so if you have some guys out here that are collecting cards and they have his card and they're deciding, man, should I get rid of it? Should I keep it? What's his ceiling, would you say?
Realistically, I think he's, like I say, a utility infielder. We would say a 45, a below average regular. Maybe on some teams that plays every day, and it's always possible that they move him from shortstop to second base and the defense really improves, right? I'm saying he's not going to stay at shortstop. Some guys move over to second, they're mediocre at short, and then excellent at second base. That would improve his ceiling where you could maybe see him being a regular for somebody. But for me, I didn't have him on my top 100 prospects this offseason, took a lot of flack for it, but I said, I don't see it. He's either got to be able to play shortstop or there's got to be a lot more bat there. And so far, in a small sample, we're not seeing it.
Well, the Rockies, the organization and the big league team especially, they're not really one of the sexiest teams. And also from a collector's standpoint here, there's nobody that really stands out. But is there somebody that maybe has some value within the organization that people should keep an eye on?
So there's 2 guys. Sterling Thompson is a hitter. He's also not off to a great start in AA, but I love the swing. There is better contact quality. They've tried to move him around the diamond a couple of spots. Even if he ends up at first base, I think he's going to hit enough to be a regular there. He'd be more valuable if he could maybe play second base regularly. They've also tried him in the outfield corners. Pitchers, as you said, I understand they don't have a lot of value. Their first-round pick, Chase Dollander, is off to a great start in high A Spokane. He'll be in Hartford pretty soon. And just knowing the Rockies, it's not going to be long till he's in the majors. They are not in a position to hold their pitchers back.
And, you mentioned Thompson there. First Bowman auto PSA 10 can be had for about $40 right now, so that's good. And finally, Arjun Nimmala, what can you tell us about him?
So he was one of the youngest players drafted anywhere last year. He didn't turn 18 until November. I actually thought they were going to hold him back and just keep him in rookie ball this year. They sent him out to low A, and he is struggling, particularly with contact. Like I said, he's extremely young. He probably shouldn't even be on a full season roster at this point. I love the upside, though. He can definitely play shortstop. He's got great hands. His footwork is good. And pretty much everyone who saw him last year agreed he was going to get to some real power, 20 to 25 home runs. it's a question of what the hit tool is going to look like. And honestly, I don't think we have enough data to say at this point.
All right, and his first Bowman comes out this week. You can pre-order right now over at Midwest Cards. Product, it comes out on Wednesday. You can get 10% off using promo code Stadium10. Good stuff, Keith. We appreciate you taking the time, giving us all the insight across minor league baseball here. But what other products have hit the shelves this week? We'll break down the bigger releases coming up next on Unpacked. Welcome back. Listen, it's been a slow few weeks as we wait for the Bowman frenzy here, but Chuck from Midwest Cards, he's got you covered, hitting the hardwood and the ice.
Pretty light week with releases here last week, but I think that's because they're just gearing up for next week, because next week is looking loaded. But we still have some great stuff to talk about that just dropped last week, so let's take a look. First off this week, let's start with the brand new 2022-2023 Upper Deck Ultimate Collection Hockey. Now, hockey products are known for being loaded with their memorabilia and their autographs, and this one is no different. Because look, when you hear the word ultimate, like that comes with certain expectations, and they do that here by focusing on those autographs and the memorabilia, and they kind of present that in a super premium way. They do that by having on-card ink for those autographs, really high-quality relics for those memorabilia cards, low serial numbers as well. As a matter of fact, every card in this entire set is serial numbered, and then they break that down all the way down to 1/1. So this hockey product does not disappoint when it comes to all those high expectations. Next up, perfect timing with the NBA playoffs being full speed ahead, we have the brand new Recon Basketball. This right here is a very vibrant, colorful set. You're gonna get 2 autographs in this box, along with either 20 inserts or parallels mixed in as well. You got 10 packs, 6 cards per pack, so a lot of ripping going on in this box. A lot of cards to look through, makes it a lot of fun. And then when it comes to the rookies, they do a great job of highlighting them. There's one called Draft Night Acetate. It's an acetate looking card, really layered with the auto on there. It looks fantastic. And then also those short prints that we love mentioning that you're chasing. In this one, you have Fusion, Contour, those are 2 of the short prints, and then coming new this year is one called Gala. Each of those Gala cards are numbered out of 8 per player, so also a very fun chase. So look, you enjoy watching those NBA playoffs? Why not do it while you're ripping into some Recon Basketball? Sounds like a lot of fun. Those are all our releases this week that we're highlighting. Get your hands on those and get ready for next week. It's going to be a big one. We'll talk to you then.
Good stuff from our guy Chuck. And hey, if you want to buy those cards or look at any others, be sure to go use the code Stadium10 for 10% off at MidwestCards.com. Guys, and you can get your cards there. And don't forget, we also have our giveaway, guys, our Top Snout cards. Some of the rookies from this past season. Like I said, we got Ellie De La Cruz. We have Jackson Chourio. We also have Wyatt Langford. I mean, we have a lot of great cards. All you got to do is go to X, follow Unpack. You can like and repost here. It's that simple, and we are going to announce the winner on Friday. Guys, I appreciate you coming and hanging out with us this Monday on Unpacked. Have a great week. We will see you next Monday.